Welcome everyone to the regular meeting of the Library Building Committee. And this is January 15, 2026, and we are meeting at the South Yarmouth Library. This is a hybrid meeting. We do have one member remote, and we're going to do a roll call attendance.
We have some people online too. I don't know when you want that. And there's a Jeff Gutsfeld from Kohler's Project Leaders.
He's probably an
Okay.
interested person. So, Dorcas McGurn.
Dorcas McGurn here.
Susan Britta. John Greco.
Here.
Tom Pendleton.
Here.
Sandy Fife.
Here.
Judy Cornstarber. All right, thank you, everyone. Our first order of business is to approve the minutes of December 16. I did send you the ones from last week, but they didn't make it onto the agenda, so just hold on to those till next time. This meeting, December 16, was when we presented to the select board. So could I have a motion to accept these minutes, please?
I'll move to accept the minutes of the December 16th Library Building Committee.
Thanks, Susan. And a second?
Second.
Thank you, Tom. Okay, so we need minutes because we had to post because we had a quorum present. So it's like a little particular detail of this, even though it wasn't our meeting.
Can I have a clarification?
Absolutely.
So, at the bottom of the first page, it talks about what Dorcas stated in having a cost estimate. Does our consultant know that they have to do that cost estimate, or who's doing that cost estimate?
What the discussion was there. Let's see. I thought it was at this meeting. And
It says, yeah, it was at the meeting, but does the consultant know they're doing that? And
we talked about the last meeting. Matt knows. Yeah, they know.
They have to wait until they get the approval back, right?
Yes.
Information on staffing and solar panels need to be included.
Where are you actually?
Down here, right here.
Down at the very bottom, first.
Last paragraph.
So I'm not sure I'm not sure if the consultant is in their estimate doing staffing and solar costs.
I know David is taking care of the staffing estimate with the ATA.
That last line, John, you're right, should be broken out. So the staffing would be done by the library director and the solar costs would be done by the architect. Is that?
It should be clear because again, it makes it seem like the consultant's doing both of those.
Yeah, that's not correct. The staffing cost should be done by the library director.
And they're not project costs, but they're maintenance costs. So Sandy, could we have that say information on solar costs need to be included, and then a new sentence about do you want to call it estimates for staffing? What word are you using? Planning for staffing?
Staffing needs?
Guess estimates might be the best.
Staffing need
Okay.
estimates.
Yeah, I can make that correction.
Okay, thank you. Also, up under other attendees, Matt was present. He was sitting next to me.
Okay.
And
I was
but-
absent, so you can put me down as absent. Just for the record.
Oh,
Okay.
good, yeah. And Jen was remote, although Tim was there.
Yeah, it's hard for me to know who's remote,
Yeah.
Yeah.
if I can't see the screen. Like
Yeah,
right
and
now we have a TI. I don't know who that is. TY.
County Yard.
That's
Yarmouth.
us. We had to set up on
Okay.
2 computers, so just ignore
Alright.
that one.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah.
So we only
And
have
I
10.
think even though Tim was present last time at that meeting, he was kind of out of camera range most of the time. So I can see where that was difficult. Okay, any other content, comments, changes, corrections? No, all right, then we'll take a vote on this. And this also has to be roll call. Dorcas,
Her and I.
Susan,
Aye.
John,
Aye.
Tom,
Aye.
Sandy.
Aye.
Okay, okay, motion carries. Wonderful. Okay. And public comment.
We don't wanna do the January 8th minute?
It wasn't on the agenda, so we can't.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
At this point, okay.
Are there any questions on Zoom from public? There's
Accenture, but.
the Jeff
Oh.
Gutfeld.
I don't see that person.
He says an attendee.
How come we don't see him here?
Let's see.
You turn on his video. Might not have,
Even if it's not video, he still shows up.
yeah, his name should show up.
Let me change my view. It could just because the view only shows some.
Still nothing.
Right,
Yes.
okay, any comments from Zoom participants? No hands up?
No hands up.
Thank you. Okay, so outreach activities. I also wanted to just update you on Matt's not going to be here because when he saw the agenda, he said, you know, this doesn't seem to concern me. And I really think that's fine. We just need to dig in and move forward.
Jen is
with our
now
outreach.
here.
Hey, Jen.
Yeah, I'm
Oh,
promoting
yeah.
her panelist right now.
I see Jeff sitting up there now, too.
You know, that's,
See him up there on the right-hand side?
yeah. Okay.
Nope, he's off it on.
Okay.
You guys hear me?
So,
We can hear you.
Okay, I'm just an interested party observing, nothing to comment on, but I was trying to
Great.
chat, but the chat was turned off for me. So thank you for turning me on, but I will mute myself. Continue with your meeting. Have a good evening.
Thank you, Jeff, for attending.
thank you. Okay, so we kind of had a lot of little fingers going out last time. And I just want you to look at these next 3 items and see where your comments are going to fit the best. So we have update of outreach activities, then actually formulating a list of outreach locations, and then formulating a list of outreach activities and dates. And we can't do all of what we need to do tonight, but that's the framework that we're going to work in. So, Susan, do you want to start?
Sure,
with-
yeah, I did sent an email out to the associations along Lewis Bay. The problem is there's not many people around.
Yeah.
That's a huge problem.
Yeah.
Chris responded from Hyannis Park. She is wicked busy with the airport and the PFAS issue, but she said, please keep her updated.
Great.
So of course I told her, and every now and then she will listen into a meeting. You know, she doesn't attend, but she will listen.
Mhm.
And there's a possibility the closer we get to town meeting, she may want something. Great Island, no one there. I heard from Bob, but there's not enough people there for him to poll and say, should we get a group together and go talk to them? There's just not around. However, they did say that there's a possibility, and the other association, Wilton Shore, said there's a possibility they would send a letter the night the board, when the board makes their final decision to put it on the warrant, they would send a letter to be read. I don't know, one letter with 2 signatures or 2 different letters to the Board of Selectmen with their opinion about the project. So that's a possibility too.
Okay.
That's two different groups
So
signing
that's-
one letter, you thought?
But
They may sign it together.
Generally, if we can reach agreement on what everyone wants to say, we always think it's much better to do one letter with 7 signatures. It's easier to read, it's not quite as
yeah.
cumbersome. If we can't get agreement on what to say, then Wimbledon Shores will send something and Great Island will send something, Hangman's Park will send something. So that's a possibility to weigh in. It's a little late in the game, but that's about the only thing I mean, right now, there's no one to gauge interest because there's no one around.
Got it.
Just because I'm gonna make some assumptions because I was part of an association. Can I assume that there's like the email list so that when you do the podcast, that 10-minute podcast with information, if we shared it with the association,
Yeah,
they
they would.
could then send it out to all their members
Yeah.
to get that information to them.
So it's Great Island, Hyannis Park,
Wilmington Shores, Acres of Pines, Crow Beach. I
What
think
is
there's
that?
2 others, I forget what's on the list.
Acres of Pines. Okay.
Crow Beach, what's the other one? Wilmington Shores, Hyannis Park, and there's another one at that end of town. I always forget the name of it. It's one of those in Broadman's names like,
Okay, but they're in your like master list.
yes.
Okay, so that's great, but I think just picking up on what Mindy said, we'll also be generating some information, updating the brochure, and just getting the QR code to them, out to them, so they can get directly to
Yeah.
the information.
Yeah, they're all willing to accept information. The question was, do they want to make time at this point?
Mhm.
And there's just not enough people around to make that commitment, so.
Well, it's just a good opportunity for us to share information, even if
mhm.
it's passive. So thank you for doing that. Sandy also reached out to the Newcomers Club. And
Oop, running out of ink. Yes, they only meet once a month. And they do allow speakers, but they also allow 2 groups to set up a table, an informational table for 1 hour prior to their meeting. So I can check with the president. There might be pretty booked for March and April already, but let me reach out and see if we can get at least a table, if not be a speaker. I don't know what would you prefer, a speaker or a table?
oh, I'd really like to have, although, is it going to be redundant to have a speaker? And then I was also thinking of doing a speaking event at the senior center. And I don't know how difficult that is to schedule, but
It's
Well,
a somewhat different clientele between the senior
Right.
center and newcomers club.
okay, so that's
Right.
good.
The newcomers is Yarmouth and Dennis.
Dennis, right, you
Yeah.
will get.
It's
both
a
towns,
combo.
correct. But you will get crossover between the senior center and the newcomers, but for the most part, it's pretty much a different group.
And once again, the question is, if we can't fit into their schedule, when is the podcast or the 10-minute piece going to be recorded so that once again, we can send it out to the organizations like the newcomers and say, oh, it's unfortunately you couldn't fit us in, but could you please share this with your members?
Yeah,
And then
yes,
they
they
can
would-
get that
they would do
sent out.
that. I have to get a pen, I'm sorry, I ran out of ink.
Just in
Yeah,
terms of
sure.
content, at least
They
based
would
on-
definitely do that.
Really, the only thing I'm interested in is how much it's gonna cost. So once we get, it's true, they've seen the pictures, they love the architecture. Big question is how much is it gonna cost?
Nice. Okay.
So once we get that information from Matt, that really is a critical inflection point.
Yeah.
Because that really gives information to the public.
Okay.
And I guess it wouldn't be a potential cost because the fundraising could lower some of that cost,
Yeah,
correct?
and-
Yeah.
And also, there should be a breakout about what's reimbursable. That's the other
Yeah.
thing. No one really has grasped that whole reimbursable idea too. So that should be, this total project cost, construction cost, reimbursable costs, potential fundraising. The flip side of the fundraising though is if we miss our mark, I think it was $2.5 million.
Yeah.
the town is on the hook to pay for that,
Yeah.
so that's gotta be in there too.
Yeah,
So,
like I said, potential.
yeah, exactly, exactly. So that's a good construction, that's a good point to get people's attention.
Right.
Part of the fundraising thing too is the naming rights that it's not talked much about. You know, even the building itself or a room or whatever it might be, there's a lot of potential for
Yeah,
naming.
although I
Oh,
have to say, our experience with the drive-in site is, not cautious, but you have to be very sensitive to naming rights. And there was a lot of discussion about, do you name it after a person, or do you name it after, American Liberty? Do you name it after Tom Pendleton? A lot of people are gonna think it's a great idea. Some people are gonna say no, they don't wanna name it after anyone alive. It can be a dead something or other, it can be a dead president. There's a ton of nuances associated, and we ultimately ended up, of course, selling the planks on the
Right.
boardwalk.
Right.
And that was difficult too,
Difficult to get people to participate.
because it was fairly expensive. At least in some people's eyes, it was fairly expensive.
Wow.
But a lot of people did give them as Christmas presents, which I thought was a great
Yeah.
idea.
Yeah.
In the name of their kids or their grandparents or parents, and so that was a good idea. But naming rights is a tough one, because you have to have a real consensus about what you want to do with it. Do we name it after an author, because it's the library?
Yeah.
Do we name it after some, the Greek god of books?
Or the donor themselves,
Yeah,
like in the
That's what
hospital,
we did
you
at
know.
Flax Pond.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Is that
Flax
we,
Pond, yeah.
we had some pretty big donors and
Yeah.
they gave, like we named the kitchen, we named
Right,
the
yeah,
patio,
right,
we named.
Yeah.
If we get a donor who wants to give a couple $1 million, we'd be more than welcome to name whatever.
Well,
however
and-
they
and-
would like.
Order that brass plaque right up.
And some people don't want them. That's
Yeah.
true.
That's
They
true.
And that's
just want
fine.
to be a donor, and that's it.
Yeah.
You could say, donate by
Yeah.
anonymous, and put it on.
And just on a donor list without any,
Yeah.
any identification on a building or a room or
Mhm.
something like that. So there's lots of variation.
We will honor anybody's wish, as long as it's not vulgar.
So that,
That's fun.
I
Well,
think,
It's his name in a lot of things. The South Yarmouth Library.
oh, not happening. So I think too with the boardwalk type things, people might have been a little tapped out on that because of Bass Hole.
Yeah.
And it getting
Competition for
destroyed.
that, yep.
Well, and it was also destroyed, and so people bought them again. And yeah, and how many planks am I gonna buy?
Yeah, I mean, the initial discussion is, do we want to do naming rights?
Mhm.
And then once they get, what type?
Yeah.
But the big macro issue is, do we want to do it at all? It's a public building, a lot of people think it's a South Yarmouth Library, and that's the way it should be. So it depends, now the West Yarmouth Library is not named, and that was all donated by the fellow in honor of his daughter.
There are some named sections that.
Inside the building, yeah, nothing on the outside of the building.
So I think we're with Yarmouth Town Library because that's how it was submitted. So I think that's the building, and it's not going to be the South Yarmouth Library.
Another question?
No.
Should we really talk about it? Because it's out of our privy, since the funding group is outside of the privy of this group? Whatever they decide, how they're gonna fundraise, whether it's naming, that has nothing to do with this group. Cause
Okay.
it's a total separate group that we weren't supposed to be associated with.
Right. I think in terms of Susan providing information to us though about problems, and also her main point was about the budget, but thank you for that caution, because we can't get too deep into it. And then Sandy also had some thoughts on seeing if we can get some preliminary budget figures from either Jen Mullen or from Amy.
Oh.
Is she?
Sandy
It was
doesn't-
more on the preliminary, if we had some type of numbers, the impact on the tax rate, but that might be premature. I guess I had a question on the naming rights, so would that be something that the Board of Selectmen would address, not us? I would think that would go through the board at that
That's right,
point.
it's an independent set aside group, but it should be noted on the budget, maybe put it in italics or an asterisk or something, but that's part of it. But I think that's a good point. The Board of Selectmen, they may have very strong opinions about naming rights.
Yes.
And, you know, when we ultimately named the drive-in site, you know, the drive-in site
Yeah.
committee submitted a name that we did surveys and we did also gathered all sorts of information. We submitted a name that we thought, and the Board of Selectmen said, no, chose something else. And planning came back and said, hey, wait a minute. You told us to do this, we did it.
Right,
And
right.
so they went back to the original name. So there's a, yes, they will be involved. The answer is yes, I think they
Yeah.
absolutely will be
I
involved.
think
And
so.
that was something we ran into at DPW too, where we talked about some naming rights, although there wasn't the fundraising, but it had to do with honoring people.
Mhm.
And there was never any action that came on that, but, you know, we said, yeah, that goes to the select board.
Yeah, it could be naming rights. That's a nuance too, naming and honoring someone as
Yeah.
opposed to a donation.
I took that as a note. David, I know is meeting with Amy regularly, so I will have him verify with her the information. Yeah.
You kind of indicated, as a board previously, though, that we were not, in favor of the idea of naming
Mhm.
after a person,
Right.
that we rather would leave it, you know, like, and this came up with the Sandy Pond Playground. You know, we'd rather leave it saying like Sandy Pond, not, you know, John Smith Playground.
Right.
Right.
Unless, of course, somebody gave us $1 million, and then I'm sure we would have another
Yeah.
idea about it, but
Like, or a foundation or
Right.
something like that, yeah. And even that doesn't have to be a name, it could just be the Sandy Pond Playground
And
was
even that, we
supported
have to
by
be
a
careful,
foundation.
Because the Smithsonian named two major museums in Washington after, what's the family did OxyContin, not fentanyl, OxyContin.
Oh,
What's the
yeah.
name?
yeah, yeah.
You know the family.
I know.
Yeah,
Sackler,
yeah.
thank you.
The
Oh, and
thousands of dollars
art
to
museum.
take their
And
names
the
off
art
everything
museum,
down there.
yeah.
It was the Asian Museum and the,
Sackler.
yeah. So that's another,
Little wrinkle there.
well, I think that's why the board is very
Yeah.
cautious about naming it after anyone,
Okay.
because history,
Yeah.
you don't know what history's gonna bring.
Well, not only that, but I mean, like, for instance, who is that person? You know, like 20, 30 years from now, people will be going, you know, who is that?
Yeah, well, what do they do besides give money? What do they do?
Well,
And there's other options, though, like the local flora, people could pick their favorite flower. And so there's other options. And so we'll find out what the options that are available by David speaking with Amy, and then we'll go from there.
Okay, so again, I want to bring up John's caution that we not get too deep into this. Unfortunately, we have ears behind me. Okay. Soak up this information. All right, just want to make sure. Susan has sent these newcomers, Sandy's gonna go back to newcomers and just get the earliest date, right?
Yes.
Okay, and the earliest date. Well, if we can get a table in February, that would be good, and then to follow it up with a slideshow presentation, do it in that sequence, so that it's like, yeah, here's what we showed you, but
On the senior center, can we get something in their newsletter?
well, I was hoping to get on their program calendar. You know, they have people come in and talk about all kinds of things in there.
They do, and my parents have gone there a lot. The newsletter, I think, would be more efficient because not everybody has the transportation to get to all of the programs. And even if you set up the program, there may be other challenges with getting there that might be a little harder for them. So I think the newsletter would be a higher priority and then do the meeting.
I don't see too much. Remind me though, what am I missing? Because usually the newsletter, as I read it, is about the programs, and they have programs, and then they have an outreach section, and then they have like the fitness kinds of things, and then you open up in the center, it has a calendar. I also don't get it until at least a week into the calendar.
They're probably already working a month in advance. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
if
Well,
we wanted to get into the,
February.
we probably are shooting for March at this point. That's
Well,
how,
yeah, because the one that came out was January, February, so the next
yeah,
one will be
so we
March,
would have to,
April. So that's what we want to get on. But I don't, do they have just info things? I don't remember just info there.
Well, there's a new person and Phoebe works closely with her. I'm sorry, I've been told the name. I don't remember it.
The man, right?
I thought it was the new woman that was in charge
Oh,
of programming and
Programming. Well, Ben Green is doing activities.
Yeah.
that's it,
so with
right?
the new changeover, there might be room for more information in a newsletter or something like
Okay.
that. It'd be worth reaching out to them for both.
The only thing I would suggest is that you make sure that you've got the costs in there, because that is the overwhelming question that everybody's got is how much is it gonna cost? So if you're gonna put it in and you don't have that, that's gonna be the thing that they're all coming back and going, well,
And Matt said they'll have some idea of cost. Is it the end of February?
As
Yeah.
soon as we get the
So,
response,
within
yeah,
that 4
so,
weeks,
and then he needed like about a month to
refine it.
calculate
Right,
it.
so realistically, we're looking at a decent, believable number, no earlier than the third week of March.
No,
Right?
before that,
No?
I think, yeah, slightly before that. I think, Jen, you would know better. I think end of February is closer to the
Beginning of
timeline.
March.
Beginning of March.
Yeah,
Then
so
January,
yeah, we attended just kind of as a confirmation. Tim and I attended an MBLC seminar yesterday, an OPM seminar, and it was basically led by MBLC, and it was just kind of answering the questions of this. You've all submitted things, you've all part of the projects that have submitted something, and now, here's next steps. What do you have for questions? And it was reiterated that all of the projects that have been submitted look like they're in really good shape, and the latest date that a confirmation would come back would be the 31st of January, could be sooner. And then once Matt gets that once Owenzella gets that confirmation, generally speaking, we see estimates usually taking, usually they say, oh, it's about 2 weeks, but we usually see it taking 3, maybe worst case scenario 4. So it does seem like end of February is probably reasonable for when the estimate will come back. And then if there's any time to have to summarize it, but that doesn't really take a terribly long time.
That's kind of what Matt was saying, like 3 weeks for the group that they
Yeah.
use, there's some who does it, and then, he was saying like maximum 1 week for their in-house review.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so that's lining up very nicely.
And then can I ask a question? And you don't have to answer it right now, it's just food for thought. We had included in our proposal, one of the all of the renditions, a secondary independent estimate. That is on the table if you want that secondary one. If you don't, it's fine. It's out there as an option if you want to, if you want a separate independent one from the Owenzella one. You can discuss it, let us know. Often what happens is when you have a huge project like this, it's good to see if one estimator sees something different than the other one does. I will also say sometimes the second estimate is done because the design team does the estimate in-house, and that's not necessarily as accurate as an estimator. But in this case, Tim, who are they using? Are they using PM&C?
It's not PM&C.
Fogarty. I mean, there's
Yeah, Fogarty, yeah.
the estimators that we all work with are pretty on the ball. They just might look at things a little bit differently. But I just want to throw that out there that is on the table if you wanted to exercise that. If not, it's fine. But if you feel that you want to belt and suspenders, we can do that as well and try to be on that same schedule.
is there a cost for that?
is there an additional cost for that? for the
Yeah,
second?
it was in our original proposal, but that's the only reason that I asked the question is we did not go forward with it because it is a cost.
We included it as an allowance,
Yeah,
right?
an
So
allowance.
if we get the green light, it's already built into our proposal. It's nothing on top of what we have already submitted. But if you
Correct.
do not want to proceed with it, it is understood and we will not.
How long would it take to get? If the group or even the Board of Selectmen might say they wanted a second estimate, how long
Yeah.
would it take to do, Jen?
It's about the same timeline. I would start lining somebody up right now.
Okay, so that's, we need to be considerate.
It would literally be the same timeline. It's just that you would end up then with two estimates. I know on the Lincoln Community Center project that I'm working on, that's about a $22 million project. And the town wanted to have two estimates done early on just to compare notes. Like, what do you see? What are you saying you think the market's doing versus what are you saying you think the market's doing? I can give you some more information on that, after this meeting. I can follow up with an email or something, but just want to let you know that that's out there.
But one of the other reasons why we see a lot of people get the second estimate as well, especially again, a project like this that needs to go to town meeting for funding, again, it's a little bit more peace of mind of if these two estimates line up, these are now two professionals saying that we're at the same cost. And it's kind of assurance moving forward that we're on the right track.
Matt, is it a flat fee or is it an hourly rate? How is the fee calculated? Is it a flat fee to get the second estimate or is it?
Yes, yeah,
based
and
on
I'm looking up real quick what our proposal said.
Yeah, that would be helpful.
You do have a problem with that.
Carry on and I'll pipe back in.
Oh, okay. All
I'm
right,
pulling it
John.
up on my screen. I got to find it in my file here.
So my experience with independent estimating is Murphy's Law says that there's going to be disagreements. So now you need at least a week to resolve all the disagreements because at this stage, there's so many assumptions that are built in. Matt's team, I'm assuming he's coordinating with an independent estimator, just may not know all the assumptions at the beginning, and you need a resolution to make sure you're clarified, or else it's not going to be totally helpful if you're not in agreement of what it is. So that's the only.
There has to be a basic set of facts that they're building their assumption on, not building their estimate on, right? I would think it'd be the materials. It may be a different.
I think that's what Jen was saying.
Yeah.
It's like, so where do you see the market going and
Right.
what are the difficulties going to
An
be?
economic.
Going forward.
One example,
Economic things is
Hang on,
huge.
Tim. You want to finish?
Well, I think again, it's just, again, my experience is it gets into, oh, I use this price for the Cape. Oh, I use this price. How come? And now you have a lot of different. Yeah. So it's typically a week at least to resolve all the differences to make sure it's synced so that you really know you're either close together or far apart.
Okay, that makes sense.
Because again, the bottom line may be close.
Yeah.
And you get there two different ways.
Yeah. Very good. Okay, Tim.
an example of what I had up in Salem for a project that we are working on. We had two estimators come in. Their numbers came out completely out of whack. Turned out one guy had flipped his siding materials. The far more expensive material he thought was just for a little bit, but it was really the whole building. And so again, just having that second estimate come in and then having those two estimators talk, as John saying, they're going through their numbers in detail of how'd you get to this, how'd you get to that, comes out in the wash that, oh, I totally missed this. I totally misread that section. And now we're corrected and we're kind of back on track.
Oh, okay. Or it could be they each make a blunder in different areas and then have to be rectified.
It's good, but until it's reconciled, you don't have.
Reconciled.
Yeah, it has to be reconciled.
Yeah.
And it takes time to reconcile.
Okay.
And so the question is, would we want, because time's fleeting. If we're going to do this, I think we ought to get it teed up right now. If we think we're going to ask for a second estimate or an independent estimate, because.
Would that be a question for the town administrator?
Yes, and it's really
Enough.
off track from our agenda. So yeah, I think we need
Throw you a
to.
curveball. I was just throwing it out there. We can follow up later. No problem.
Okay.
We can
Well,
follow
if you
up
have
with
your
Dave.
number, we can take your number.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, our original proposal had phase one and phase two were 82,000, which is what technically ended in December 31st. And we had a $9,900 estimating fee in there.
Ah,
I can also say that I just got all the numbers today for December, and our fee for December was like 70,000 instead of and we do hourly not to exceed, right? So we're not going to bill you
Yep.
82,000. We're, billing the 70. So there is some money still there that was set aside that would effectively cover this, but it's up to you if you want to move forward with it.
Okay, okay,
That's good to
Okay.
know.
that's good, thanks.
Yeah,
Very good
that's,
to know.
that's really important. And I do think, this is an Amy question.
Right.
And so then who's gonna take it to Amy is the next question.
I can see, if I can see Amy tomorrow.
Okay,
I've got to do an errand in the morning, but I can stop by town hall.
okay, thanks, Tom.
She's gonna be asked whether we should get the second estimate or not.
Yeah,
Make a
I'll talk to
recommendation.
Yeah.
them, right. I'll explain that the architect's gonna give us one. The OPM could arrange for a second. Do we want to do that? And it's gonna cost X amount. of
But it's
money.
covered.
But it's
It won't-
covered.
It's covered.
Yeah, it's covered. Yeah.
Okay,
I
and
can-
I will put that on our agenda for next time.
Right, and then we should, right, talk about it next time.
Okay, alrighty. Any other outreach activities that have already occurred? Okay,
We're keeping count here of any questions
Great.
that we then ask the tally mark. So that is going on here.
nice. And so Linda and I worked together. We actually moved in together for a couple of days. And we went over the brochure. And we went over the links between the town site and the library site and how those were working and how easy they were to navigate. And some parts were easier than others. And we made some content suggestions. So
Then the language of the, on the rendering,
on the,
the language that came with the renderings.
yes.
Yes.
So basically, because we'd already paid for all of that text, we figured, well, we're gonna take this and just use it and move it around and make it work for us to convey the information we had. So our last, let's start with the brochure maybe? Sure. Okay, so this was the last version I had.
Yeah.
Which was, fall 25. There actually were some errors on here. And then this information is duplicated on the library website. And there were a couple of little glitchy things there. So we worked with Mindy and Rebecca in person, was that 2 days ago? And we changed a couple of things. One, like the links there on the page, just making them dark blue because they were going away into the text and from, on the phone and
online website.
yeah, so the mobile app, and we've been working on it for about an hour. And then I went back and I said, okay, I'm gonna go in on this side, on the library side. And I went right by it. This is after we're like in the middle of working on this. So that was a quick change. That was easy. But as far as this goes, we need an update date here. And then most of this was good. Linda worked on the content of the timeline, which is the same timeline as over there. And
Bringing it up to date. Yeah. No, that's just.
okay, okay. And just squishing this up a little, taking some of this up. Did you get to see that today?
We did,
Okay,
and it will be very difficult to make it fit without eliminating a lot of that.
Okay, so, well, the version had eliminated stuff, no?
Not enough.
It needs to be combined. If we're doing it by season, it would need to be combined by season as opposed to dates.
Oh, that, well, that could work. That could work, like winter 25.
It would need to be combined, yes, combined spring when it
Yeah.
began and of 25. It can't be individual dates like that.
That's great. That's
Is that
great.
Do you anticipate that's gonna include budget, cost information?
Not yet, but here's the beauty of this, is that this has the QR code and it will take you right back. So
To
if
the
we
website.
get
So when it
information,
does come available,
be
it takes you
loaded.
right
it
back.
can be really fast. People can really have it. Or if they pick this one up and it's still sitting on the kitchen counter 2 months from now, and they hit the QR code, they're going to get the newer information. So that's kind of
Is there
neat.
gonna be a mention in that about if you want budget information, go to the QR code?
Not specifically, it
I think
says,
there should be a specific link to the QR
says,
code.
what does it say? Update,
Further information.
yeah,
Or
Updated
something like that.
yeah.
Because,
Well, David, correct me if I'm wrong,
Everyone
everything
wants to
has
know
to
how
go
much it's gonna
through
cost.
the town before we can update this?
I mean, certainly update the pamphlet, but we aren't, we can't, well, whatever,
Yeah.
I mean, we're not adding numbers we don't have, let's put it that way.
Right.
Nobody's proposing to do that.
Question, are we looking to keep that, modify what's needed to be modified? And then you could always historically go back to that, and it's kind of so a new thing, so we're new information, and you always have the old information.
Well, because this one, I guess Mindy would be able to answer that better. So if I'm understanding your question correctly, like this one says fall 2025, does this exist someplace independent of winter 2026?
So that they're two separate things, and you get new updated information. You go back to the fall to get the fall, just like any newsletter that we're talking about.
Okay.
like an addition.
Yeah,
So we would keep them both.
because from a historical standpoint, right, you always want to keep what you had. Yeah.
Yeah. But once we change it, it will be a whole new one, so.
Yeah.
Be identified as a new document.
You
Right.
file the old one.
Yeah, we copied the old one, but it would only be available to like Rebecca and myself, the old
No, it
pamphlet.
should be available to
So what
Yeah,
they're
the
saying
public,
now
the
is,
public.
That's not how, because that one would be available in paper to the public. You can't come in and just get the old one.
okay,
Online,
okay,
online.
that's how it
Yeah.
exists now.
Yeah.
So here's a question for you. This one, as it exists
Yeah.
now in your
Mhm.
software, because it's printed, it could be a PDF, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so that PDF could go to the library building committee webpage and be there historically.
We can update, okay.
Yeah.
I'm sure we can send that to them and they can.
Yeah, we send it
They'll
to
say-
town hall.
They'll
Because
save
not-
the old file and create a new file off of this one, and the old file still stays dated as. an
Yeah,
old
we're still
file.
figuring how much we can do and how much we can't do. So that's kind of some of my hesitation answering these.
No, but I
Questions
think
and
if
looking
you
at David.
Send them a PDF.
Yep,
it
we can
goes-
send them the them the
to
PDF
Marcel,
of
right?
that. Yeah,
Yeah, we can do that.
Okay, so that,
which I think they already have.
Yeah.
okay,
They probably do
Yeah.
have that, but I can follow.
They
up
do
with
have
so.
that PDF for that one. If we make a new one, they'd have to get the new one.
I did notice, because I was plodding through everything, that they actually have like old stuff from the planning committee too, their old brochures and stuff. So that's where it belongs with that, all that other stuff, right? Historically, like you were
As
saying.
an archive file.
Yeah, yeah.
Didn't you find that there was something that was duplicated in the online version?
It's all
versus-
fixed.
Yeah,
It's all
they
fixed.
got
Yeah.
a very hodgepodgey email
Yeah.
from me today. But, so that was really good. Then we took, let's see, did everybody get that handout? It's
This one?
Yeah, it's like a fact sheet. It says, why do we need a new library?
I'm sorry.
That's all right, that's good.
Okay, so this came from.
Your phone?
O'Nello's did, right?
When I first said it was on this one.
Mm, I don't know, I think this was from the,
Did you,
When it said from the board, why do we need a new library statute?
okay,
That is from all of that.
all right, so what? We did some playing around with a lot of this information. And rather than waiting for people to ask us questions and then saying, oh, those are the frequently asked questions, just kind of trying to anticipate what the questions they're going to ask. I sent this to Lori Sullivan and asked her what she thought, the size of the file, blah, blah, blah. So I have not heard back from her. But right now I'm just like open to any kind of comments that anyone has too. I have a clean copy because mine's a mess. Thank you.
Just so you know, Judy, I met with Amy today. I meet with her every week, and I know she had a few thoughts, so I would imagine at some point she'll either, reach out to you or try to meet and go through some things. I know she couldn't be here tonight. but-
Oh, I thought, oh, no, that's right.
Yeah,
told
she
me
had
that.
a conflict, so I know she had a bunch of thoughts about
Excellent.
like edits and whatnot, so I don't know if you wanna.
No, I don't have any hurt feelings. This is not all I did was change format. So,
The only other question I have is somewhere, and maybe
Mhm.
both the library site and the town site, there should be something that Joe Public can press to provide comment.
Yeah, comment button.
okay. So
Right,
that-
so I mean, you go through all the questions, which are good,
Leave a comment.
yeah,
Yeah,
and
Yeah.
here's what it is.
I'm
and
sure
then-
they could, I'm sure Lori and her team could put a comment button in there.
Probably, yeah, I would think
Easy.
so.
Did we talk to them about that though?
No, we didn't, because we hadn't thought about it, so, but it's a good idea. I think that, yeah, you could just, it's not that difficult to add a comment button.
Yeah,
And then you just aggregate them, Makes sense.
Yeah, you had mentioned that a while ago.
because that's
and I-
standard of what it is, especially for
Yeah.
things where you're trying to
Correct.
solicit
Mhm.
feedback,
Right.
just ask for comments to be able to do it.
Careful what you wish for.
Well,
I know.
I mean, the whole thought is to get the feedback.
I know.
You want-
And the
you want
comments would be
feedback.
available for anyone to see,
Yeah.
like a regular.
Well, that's a different
Unless-
question.
That's a different way.
That's
to
a
do
different-
Unless you had well, I think you make them available unless you had to censor them, but you're gonna make any comment live. People have a right to see those comments. I think.
But that would be what can be done, because a comment should have then a formal response so that so everybody can see both the comment and hopefully the comment that if it's
Well,
a
then
positive.
you're asking for somebody to monitor the site to provide feedback on an ongoing basis, so,
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
if you want interactive, you probably need that. And I would, if we get a lot of feedback, that would be good. I mean, that would be a question again for communication.
That's something we'd have to discuss, who's gonna
Right.
monitor the website and who's gonna provide the response.
Another question I would have is whether people have to sign their comments. Because, what we've had so far are the comment cards, and we didn't ask for people to do that, but we also didn't publicize those comments. Some people, very, very few people signed the comments on the comment cards, and we haven't gotten that many to begin with. So when you speak publicly at a public meeting, you do identify yourself. And so if we're going to use that lens to look at public comment, then I think the comments would have, your name, and even if people just put like first initial and their last name or something like that. So I think that's a question. do we want it interactive or do we just want to be the recipients? That's another question. And who's going to monitor it? So I came away from that, just that very brief conversation with 3 questions. And then what are the capabilities of our team to do any of those things?
Sandy has her hand raised.
Yep, Sandy.
Will we be putting this out on the Town of Yarmouth Facebook page where people can comment? Where, I mean, where
Well,
are
I
you
think-
publishing this?
You mean the fact page?
Yeah, are you gonna put the frequently asked questions out on the Town of Yarmouth in Facebook page where they can?
could. Yeah, we could. It just went to Lori yesterday, so.
Okay,
Nobody's
that's
putting
a
this
question
much
for Lori.
information on
Yeah.
Facebook. Yeah. But a link to it on Facebook
Well-
would be better, but nobody is gonna read all this on the Facebook
On
page.
Facebook.
It's too many words.
Well.
Oh, they
we're
can
gonna
put a link,
link
but
it
they
up.
can
And I will say,
try to
looking
capture their comments.
And when CD was here and we did the big survey, we had to do it anonymously and all comments had to remain that way for privacy. So that would be something else to look into, is if we can have it publicly comments on that on a Facebook page. Yes, of course we can, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
So another way to look at this would be, this one goes out this week, this one goes out another time, it doesn't have to be this whole thing. This was just so that it wasn't continuous text, which is what which is what it came from. All right, any other comments?
I have a bunch of little notes I'll share with you. If everybody wants to hear them, I will, but.
On
Yeah,
this?
On
Or
this, yeah,
should-
I've
oh,
made my little notes, so. Yeah.
Okay, you want to just make your notes and then?
I'll just hand it to you, yeah, I'll just give it to you so you can see what I wrote down.
Okay. I did email this to everybody
Yeah,
too, right? Yeah, okay.
Would this be the basis for the podcast?
It could be, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yep.
It's certainly the talking points, right?
Mhm.
And also the other thing was, maybe giving library staff a few talking points too. I suppose we should agree on what's in here before we start sharing it all over the place. But I understand, like, one library employee was asked, when's the vote? And that alone is a very difficult question because there are 2. So there's town meeting vote and then there'll be the election vote. So there's not one answer to that.
Well, I suppose it's sufficient to say that it has to go to town meeting first, so the
Yeah.
ballot is incidental.
So, yes, I would say that's the focus, April 28th is town meeting, yeah,
It's the 28th, they keep it, it's the 27th, it's the 28th.
28.
yeah.
Town meeting, let's say that it got voted no, then in the other one becomes a moot point anyway.
Exactly, yeah.
I know it's some repetition, but can I go back to the estimate again?
Oh, yes, actually, we should wrap that up a little better.
Okay, just a couple of things. When we get the estimate.
Yeah.
I think from a protocol point of view, someone, Judy, probably in letter form, should send that to the Board of Selectmen first before we put it out to the public. I would not want the Board of Selectmen to get that
Thank you.
information on a website. I think we owe them the courtesy of putting it in a letter and sending it to them first. Because the expectation is we're gonna go back to them. Matt, remember, we talked about that last week. We're gonna go back to them before the town meeting to for the final, so at that point, they will have the letter, they'll have the estimate. I just don't want to, I just think it's necessary that they get that number first.
We asked
And
for
the
it.
explanation, yeah, they asked for it, and maybe they expected we'd come back, but I just think from a protocol point of view, they should not be getting the estimate by reading a Facebook page.
Okay, so two strands I want to pull out from what you just said. One is that when this came out, Tom had some feedback about, oh, don't say it's gonna be, what did I have in there, January to,
Oh,
it was a long time frame
Yeah.
for,
we had January to end of April 2020.
yeah. Because we didn't know yet, and so hearing from Jen tonight that we'll get a response around the first of February, yeah.
No, the
that
end of
could be-
February more.
February first,
End of
She said
February.
January 31,
Well,
Well-
we'll get that from MBLC,
Yeah.
then
Right.
the estimate starts,
right,
so
so
we'll
that'll
get-
be the end of February.
that would be the end of February.
and
Yeah.
a week to do a week for them to.
I would,
refine
based
it.
on what I think what they're saying,
They
Susan,
would
is
do
that
it
they
for a
would do
week.
3 weeks and then and then a week, and then, so that would be the end of February.
Yeah, so if we say March
March
1st,
1st,
where I was saying
April.
we weren't gonna even get the info back from MBLC until that time.
We'll be
So
getting
that's,
March first. It was
that-
best case scenario.
so that brings that up.
That gives us 6 weeks. From the 1st of March till the 28th of April, more than 6 weeks.
Mhm. You gotta get,
Well, actually, to the Board of Selectmen, meeting, because their vote coming
Yeah,
out of the
that's
Board of Selectmen meeting will be
Okay.
crucial.
okay, so I did send an email to Amy asking her when would be a good time for us to go back to the select board. And surprised her, because she thought maybe as our link, you might have some input into when we would want to
When's
do
your-
that.
'Cause
Just going to my calendar.
Because we're gonna go in front of the finance committee too. I talked to Richard about
Oh, we
that.
are? Okay.
Yeah,
Do we have a
Because-
date for that?
because they would like to hear what the numbers are, so they can
Yeah.
like.
Yeah.
Right,
It would like
so I talked, so
I'm
it
meeting with
needs,
him
we probably
tomorrow.
need to see them before we see you guys.
Yeah, that
Or-
would make,
Yeah, but
Unless you think otherwise.
I guess going back to Susan, from a public, because they're all public meetings, who should be the first person?
Well, I
or
think
first-
that they'll get the letter and then, but you're right, what's the sequence? Is it you
I
first?
think finance meets on
Wednesdays?
Tuesday,
Oh,
on Tuesdays.
Wednesday.
same day you do.
Okay. And,
Sandy,
well,
what
I
did
can
you
tell you
say?
that we're looking at March, basically, aren't we, for when it,
Basically, yeah.
right? So it's gonna be March 3rd, I think is probably what your target date should be.
That's, yeah, that's
I
when
think that-
Capital does their presentation.
Yeah, but I
Yeah.
think that's gonna be razor thin, Dorcas, in
Very
terms,
tight.
Then
if
you're
it's
looking at March 17th.
Yeah, I
Those are
think
the
that
only two
St. Patrick's
dates
Day is
we
gonna
have in
be-
March.
St. Patrick's Day.
Yeah.
That's great, so that gives us a lot of luck, so. Right? Right, luck of the Irish,
Got it, got it.
Okay, before the Board of Selectmen. These are
right, so the
Yeah, that's-
17th,
they meet on the 17th. So
have your corned beef and cabbage before you go to the meeting. Do not wait.
I think if you're talking then that the finance committee would be meeting on March 10th.
I'll
Okay,
talk to
that's-
Richard, but yeah.
That's,
I would-
Technically,
that's
I would
good
think that the
timing.
select board would like to know what the finance committee has to say.
So we should go to
Yeah.
finance committee first on the
First.
10th, alright, so I'll
And then
talk to
go-
Richard and see if we can get it for the 10th.
Well, if you want, I'm seeing him at 9:30 tomorrow. I
You're
can
gonna see him
ask
at 9:30, you can
Yeah,
ask him,
definitely.
you're gonna be at town hall?
No, we're gonna be at Dunkin' Donuts if you'd like to come join us.
Well, there's 850 Dunkin' Donuts.
800, well, it's the Station Avenue one
Oh,
over,
Station Avenue.
over by the Stop and Shop.
Yeah.
9:30. Come join us.
I've gotta be somewhere, I can try, yeah. I've gotta be somewhere,
What time did you say?
9:30.
9:30 tomorrow. Richard and I are getting
I'm
together.
surprised you're meeting at Dunkin' and not at Three Fins.
Well,
Where?
I'm the one that made Dunkin' instead of Three Fins.
It's in Dennis and it could be,
Three
they're out
Fins
of
is-
town.
Well, Three Fins is a little bit nicer ambiance, I think.
But it's also out of town.
So the expectation is the letter with the estimates will be in the Board of Selectmen's hands.
5/17.
No.
Well,
No,
Prior to
before we go to
that.
finance, so at least you'll see.
It's first, so
Yeah.
it's so finance and board will get it on the same day, March 10th, is that the day we will be looking at?
They meet on Tuesdays?
Yeah.
No, the finance meets on Wednesday.
That's what I thought, Wednesday.
Yeah, so it would be the 11th.
Okay.
So then it would go into our packet on the 12th on
Oh.
the 13th
For
for
the
the 17th.
next 17th, okay.
Excellent. That's
But
excellent.
finance and selectmen can get it the same day. Maybe
Yeah,
yeah.
Give it to the board at 9 and give it to finance at 10.
Yeah,
That's not our meeting, is it the 11th? That would be this,
No.
this planning board?
This
Are
is-
we meeting on the 11th?
Oh,
For the planning board,
Yeah.
but you don't have to worry about that. This will supersede that completely.
I just.
And then we would be in front of the board, we would be in front of the Board of Selectmen on the 17th.
yeah,
Okay.
all right. That's,
So who has that? Since you talked to Amy, Amy said talk to Dorcas, Dorcas is talking to herself. Who's talking to herself? The 17th of
I can
I think-
email, I'll email Amy.
Okay.
all right, but
I'll
Dorcas,
email Amy.
do you have the hotline to getting things on the
Well, I mean,
agenda? I mean,
it would be
it's
really
supposed to-
appropriate to give it to Amy to, like, because Bob will want to get involved in it too. There's no problem. I mean, we'll get it on for the 17th. There is no other date to do it. So we'll figure it out. The
Okay,
agenda for the select board is getting pretty heavy for the next couple of meetings, but if we have to be there at 11:30, we're gonna be there at 11:30.
gosh.
We bring our own cots.
We've been known to
Quickly.
meet that long, so
Yeah,
that's.
okay.
we
So
have to-
FinCom on the 11th, Select
Hopefully.
Board on the 17th. Okay, yes, and these are, erasable pen. All right, they're not pencil, they're not pen, but they're pretty good.
Okay, and then the other big question to be decided is, do we want the second estimate? And we could talk about that later.
I'll talk with Amy.
And that'll be on our next
That's an Amy-
agenda.
that's an Amy, yeah.
Okay, wow, this is,
Well, Amy, and also, I'd like to hear what Richard has to say about that too.
The
from
second
finan-
estimate?
Yeah, from the finance committee. I think they would really like to see that too. But yes, go to Amy and I'll just talk to her.
Well, the cost for the estimate has already been factored into.
Yeah, so as long as it's not gonna cost us any extra money. That,
well,
I
it could
think
be
he's gonna
savings
say-
though, I guess, if
I
we
mean,
don't
I'm
save it, 'cause it's.
speaking for him, but I think he's, as a finance guy, is
I know.
gonna say, sure,
Yeah.
let's have the
let's
two.
have it too.
Wow.
Hey, Jennifer, is it routine that people get a second estimate, or is that unusual?
It's not unusual. I mean, I wouldn't call it routine, but it's not unusual either. It's like a 50-50. I mean, a lot of it has to do with the size of the project, and this is a pretty substantially sized project. I mean, if it's a $1 million project, they're like, no, one is fine. But
Mhm.
when you're talking in the 20 millions, owners tend to prefer to have a second one as a comparison.
Yeah, I think that's,
Yeah.
I think, given
I'm
the
sure
fact
that's
that
what Richard's gonna
finances
say.
are a huge issue in this discussion, I think it will help to tamp down any criticism. Oh, you could have gotten a second estimate and you didn't. It was paid for and you didn't use the money. I just think it's a better management decision, just go, it's terms that it's covered, we might as well get it. And I kind of.
Plan on it.
Yeah, and then they'll have to reconcile it. Although I can't believe it's gonna be that, well, who knows?
Well,
But it's gonna be that far off. I think the tariffs may be,
Yeah,
play
I
into
mean-
it, or who knows? But they'll reconcile
You
it.
have to reconcile.
Yeah, they'll reconcile.
Right, okay, and so I want to give that topic a context on our agenda, which has to do with our outreach activities, and that would be a major hole in our outreach activities if we didn't have the money conversation. And then further is Sandy's twist on that, which is the impact on tax rates. I can remember years you know, in another community and somebody standing up with their calculator and talking about a middle school and, you know, what it was gonna cost per thousand on the tax rate, and then, you know, so for you, that's like, you know, 47 cents a day to have a new middle school,
Right.
you know, that kind of thing. And that's the kind of information that people want to have. You know, they want to know, where's it going to be in my pocketbook?
Right, definitely.
And I think we also want to get them to fall in love with the project first, so then they say, oh, it's only 47.
I don't think they're ever gonna say that. Not this time, not this time. Mm-mm. No, they're very talk about conscious, as you know.
No, but
So I
think-
guess going back to, when do we think we would ever be able to get anybody to give some sort of ballpark as the impact on tax rate?
As soon as you have the numbers,
We have the numbers.
Yeah.
Yeah, Richard will do it, yeah.
or Amy or
Right,
Jennifer.
Amy or
Yeah.
Does
I
it in
would-
his head.
Amy could do it, but she's not committing,
Yeah.
but. But,
It doesn't have to be precise, but it's
No.
just a range, it's just a ballpark figure.
Yeah.
Knowing Richard, it'll be almost to the penny.
Right. I think the value added from the finance committee is where is this going to, the impact analysis and everything else that's on the table. How does this impact
Mhm.
everything else? Where would it fall in the realm of reasonableness?
Mhm.
I think their expert analysis is very helpful in that regard.
So as soon as we have that number, which we're anticipating beginning of March,
Mhm.
then we can get that out and then we can update all of our materials. And then if we have some dates, commitments, podcasts, whatever for March and April, then we'll have that hard number or soft
Yeah,
number.
closer to the vote, I think,
Yeah,
the interest will
Exactly.
keep up the closer you get to the vote.
Yeah, yeah.
And people will be coming back in April. You know, Easter's there. People start coming back to the Cape. You have to open up the house or whatever. There's more
Mhm.
foot traffic.
Electricity starts to build. Yeah. But I also to want to be sensitive to the comments that we've heard about, I didn't know anything about this. So those people, you know, who haven't gotten on the train yet, the information train, we want to pick those people up too with, this is the project and this is where we are and you know, look at these pretty pictures and,
Mhm.
so they need to think a little bit about that too.
Yes, people would say that. Is that, I know, is it like parents that haven't heard about it, or is it people in business, or who has not heard about? the new
I
library?
don't know, during the holidays, I mean, going to various parties, talking to people, said, I hadn't heard anything about this.
Mm.
And that's, you know, people who live here year round.
Cause I'll tell you, every parent that comes in here, they know about it.
So I think the
Yeah.
parents probably know more about it than some of the, you know,
Well, generally, at least in the West Yarmouth community, it's fairly well known that, you know, we get a library project. They meant, I know the nuances. And mainly, I think, because of the West Yarmouth Library, there was great interest in that, so there's a general idea that
Correct.
something's going on. Cause you'd be hard pressed to find someone over in West Yarmouth who does not know we're doing something for the library.
Uh-huh.
But the advantage that you have, Susan, in West Yarmouth is that you have very strong neighborhood associations.
do.
correct, you do.
And then, so information gets out
It does.
as opposed to
South
South Yarmouth
Vermont,
and
Yarmouth
Yarmouth
Port.
Port. you know.
Yeah, geographically, we're very compact.
Yeah.
You know, we're
Yeah.
all next to each other, so it's the word, we need to walk along the street and meet someone, so. You're right, that's a big advantage. That's a big advantage.
Joe, were you gonna chime in on that topic?
No, not really. I was just gonna say those people who are saying they haven't heard anything yet, they will only hear something if it gets to them online.
Mm.
You know, and I'm not saying that to be critical. It's
No,
just
that's a
lot of-
fact, it is a fact.
Yeah, a lot of the people I've watched on Facebook are not library users that don't know about the project. So that's a demographic we're missing.
The other is you have to weed out those people that just knee-jerk say,
I
I
don't
didn't
know,
know anything
yeah.
about it,
That's-
and yet
we can't
they
help that.
actually did.
Mhm.
Yeah, there's always gonna be a substantial element of people who
We'll say that.
are willfully ignorant or claim to be.
Right.
But the real information blitz will start in March once we get the numbers.
Right. And so that's why I wanted to get a firm list of what are our outreach activities and dates, although, we can't just unilaterally set the dates. But, I think we've pretty much said March, April. That's when we really want to request
Yeah.
access to
And the
people.
fact that it's gonna be on the Board of Selectmen agenda
Mhm.
on March 17th, that's a trigger date anyway.
Perfect, yeah,
That would be really helpful.
Yeah.
Because people they'll either, they watch it or they'll show up.
mhm.
That would be very helpful. That data is very helpful.
Do we want, I've heard some ideas kicking around, one that we have no control over, which was to be part of an information day, for example, at the senior center where all the projects on the table are going to be presented and reviewed, but I think that the select board would have to request that something like that be organized. So,
I think you might want to just be really in on the push for when we start advertising for town meeting itself. I mean,
Okay.
that's really gonna be, there's gonna be a really big push for that. This is gonna be an article on the town meeting agenda. So, that's when I would do it.
so do we want to do another one of our info meetings? I mean, that's kind of what we've been talking about, is like one of those presentations that's separate from.
Or do you
select
just want to be
board?
part of, make sure that you're part of Bob, Bob does his presentation
Mm.
of town meeting, and that's what people are listening to, is talking about the town meeting, like, you just talk to Bob about, that this is what the committee would like you to talk about when you get to that agenda item.
Okay, so when
Because
you're,
people aren't gonna, like, you're better off, personally think, you're better off to zoom in on Bob's video. Because that's either that or it's gonna be the review at the Board of Selectmen.
Like the preview.
Right. Yeah. Which is gonna be after the 17th.
So we could give him a script, short.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, is I'm sure Bob would be more than happy to, talk to you about, how to present that.
okay,
And that goes on Facebook too, so.
And they're really pushing this year to make sure that goes as many places as possible. That we got
Good
good
idea.
feedback on that last year, and
Yeah.
we wanna, it's a great way for people to be able to just tune in and say, oh, now I see what's on with town meeting. It's going to become critically important for this town meeting. It's gonna be a tough town meeting.
mhm.
So is there a date of when warrants and everything would be?
Yeah, it gets, and you can
Mhm.
ask me that, and I'm not gonna be able to tell you.
a
Yes,
month,
there
4
are,
weeks
by
before?
law, we have to have everything in on a specific date. But that's why I'm saying, right, it has to be, and you've got your message boards that go out and everything else, so I would just tune in with, if you're talking to Amy, she's gonna see that it gets into the network. But to go and schedule another meeting, I think you're getting into the time when people have a lot going on, and they're not gonna come out for your meeting. I mean, I wouldn't want you to waste the time.
Okay, no, with that,
I think you should really zoom in on Bob.
okay. So then, as far as talking to targeted groups, though, talking to,
Well, that's different.
yeah,
With the chamber.
the chamber. Does anybody have a contact there? I know we've been over this a little bit before, but I don't remember, you had some tenuous link over there, right? But nobody has.
Yeah, Mary's still there, yeah.
Mary,
Bill Bond.
BILB. And they have monthly, don't they?
Yeah.
I think they've
Yeah.
got monthly meetings.
okay. And,
And I'm not sure if they still, because now that I'm retired from Heatherwood, I'm not sure if they still have their business after hours, but might be something that would be good for you to get in on, is the chamber's business after hours.
It's more of a social thing. isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. Be a good time to just be able to talk about it, just have some brochures there and whatever.
still have that under 40 group?
That's a separate, and
That's like
that's
a-
Cape wide under 40.
Ah, okay. So that might be a stretch.
No, I
Yeah,
think you're
yeah,
better off
yeah.
just with the Chamber of Commerce.
Okay. Um, Rotary?
Yeah.
Anybody belong to Rotary?
No.
Reach out to them to restart our membership, but if you want to reach out to them, unfortunately, they plan their speakers in advance for the months, like the speaker request went out last October for all the months of who, and each person was in charge of who did what month. If you have any questions, Tomas would be the person to reach out to ask about that.
Anyone know him?
I do. Yeah, but he's on, Thomas is very known around town. Tomas
I
is
mean,
very,
I know who he
and
is.
if you go to the Rotary website, you can find the email to email him at.
Other groups, folks?
That's Tolentino?
Yeah.
Is he
there
the
any other
president
one?
right now?
It looks like he's the incoming president, so I'm not sure officially when that changeover happens, but according to the website, he's incoming.
Okay, well, even if you're not the specific speaker at Rotary, you can still get a couple,
yeah.
you can still work
a couple
something out.
Yeah.
Set aside
Just a
10
couple of
minutes.
minutes, yeah. Okay. This is a breakfast meeting, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
It's
7
at
o'clock
7
on
a.m.
Fridays. The Hearth, they used to be at the Hearth and Kettle. Now I'm on a school bus, so I can't go to Rotary.
By the way, does anyone know?
It's just
They
closed.
closed.
I
What's that?
know.
Piccadilly, yeah.
Holy shit. It's been here since I've
It's gonna be
Yeah,
a
but it just-
fitness center.
it
No, a
I've done a lot of-
PT. PT, it's some
Gonna be another.
PT place.
Really?
Physical therapy.
That's a sign of the times.
I know.
But
We'll
don't
do
tell
Cal
us you're gonna
business.
we have to need the armor,
Yeah.
right?
Getting
Do you
hard.
guys have you guys thought of reaching out to, so parent council president in the past here, Girl Scout leader, Boy Scout leader, whatever. Have you, I know you communicate with the folks in the schools, but is there like parent council that could get the word out? Somebody's got to be in charge of like the various Girl Scout troops, Boy Scout troops. Is there some way you could read? Because I'm
I know
assuming
all
the
of them.
library, what's that?
I know all of them. The
Oh,
PTOs
perfect.
don't get anybody in attendance, so they do not feel that this is the right fit for them because 3 of the 5 people that attend are already part of the library community. So we'd only be reaching 2 people.
Okay.
So the PTOs were into that. Girl Scouts are willing. Trust me, anything we want from the Girl Scouts, they'll give us, but those are individual meetings. So how many meetings does Judy want to go to? And so that might be more of a send out to the troop. If we do, once again, the podcast, that might be a send out to the troops, letting them know the information, and then they can reach out for more information. But we can get it sent out to everybody at both those locations. Just holding in person doesn't appear to be the right fit for this community.
Are the parents, do they watch things like the Board of Selectmen?
No.
meeting? They
No.
don't.
They can, their schedule is too busy. So
Yeah,
from what
yeah,
I've heard, and they can't attend them live because when they're putting the children to bed and
Yep.
cooking dinner. They can't come to morning meetings because they're when the kids are getting off to school.
Well,
So,
they're going to work.
and then we lose the ones that are working. So yes, it's, and same with town meeting. That is one of the things they have is the timing of it and the lack of childcare provided at town meeting for parents to be able to attend.
It's a
Okay. All right,
difficult,
so-
it's a difficult demographic to reach. I mean, there's things when we did fundraisers, oh, come pick your stuff up, and we'd have the principal do the call to everybody. We'd put it on the Facebook page, we'd send out emails, and inevitably you had that one person that didn't know they were supposed to come pick up their wrapping paper, right? You cannot possibly reach everybody all the time. You can do your best.
No, I know the math.
Okay, so we have the chamber, the Rotary, the PTOs are probably not our best outlet. The scouts are probably just give them the thing with
Yep.
the, okay. And are there more scouting troops though than the one that we host?
Oh, I know this woman's in charge of all the Girl Scouts. And I know the person in charge of all the Cub Scouts too.
Excellent.
So,
Okay. All right.
Churches.
Yeah, churches?
Church bulletins? Oh, yeah, I think you said.
Yeah. Or church.
Church and state.
No.
It's just information. No, it's, I used to do these a lot, and I'd go to the coffee hour part, not, I wouldn't be like after the sermon. You know, but like, but just an information, here's what's going on in your community. All these people that are,
Most of the bulletins I am aware of are a small advertisement. The church uses as a
Oh,
revenue
right.
generator. You know, buy flowers from the, you know, go to David's coffee shop.
that's right, yeah.
Um,
I was
you
thinking
got
more of
coffee
like
shop?
talking
I'm
at the
there.
I like
coffee
that.
hour, yeah.
They all should have parish councils, but I don't know if they would have, you know, I don't know if it's just parish business and they do outside speakers.
Right, I don't know the climate anymore. But I do know that St. David's and next door are very closely linked with the Cookie Stroll.
Yeah.
And so they have good relations with the library now, and so if we kind of came on.
And it might be once
that-
again, reaching out to the person in charge and giving them the with all the information and giving, if a person from the church asks them a question, then they could
They get a
give
link.
them the information.
Or
But,
I'll
yeah.
send them to the link.
Yeah.
Who would our contacts have been? Do we have contacts from the Cookie Stroll for the two churches? These two?
Is it Richard Banks, I think is the.
Richard's over here at
No, Richard Banks is, St. David's.
I'm sorry,
Oh.
St. David's.
Oh,
I don't
okay,
know who next door.
I have his card.
okay. And then do we know anybody at the Congo, the West Congo? Cause that's right next door to the library.
I've talked to them before. They they rescued our things from the tornado.
Dorothy Robinson.
But I don't.
Yeah, it would be great if we had a library patron, right?
Would- As we get closer, would it be inappropriate to get someone to send a letter to the editor at the Cape Cod Times?
Does anybody read Cape Cod Times?
I do.
In favor of the well, it wouldn't be one of us, but it could be somebody.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we can't be lobbying for it.
No,
yeah,
we
we'll be
can't be
on our own
lobbying.
time.
We
You could
can,
get somebody,
Oh,
you could get
Can't-
somebody outside of this group
Yeah,
to write the letter.
Private citizen, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep.
yeah, private citizen, not lobbying for.
Yeah. But
Susan
Susan,
Vaughn is the other one.
Susan Vaughn will be,
He wrote one already.
yeah, she's written a couple of pieces. The last one though was, yeah, it's two, right, Mindy? And, last one was in the summer, it was Bloody Hot Day.
Mhm.
And then she came around again when we had some other meetings. And she did say to me, keep me in the loop. So whenever we're ready to give her more information, I think she'd be
There was
willing to
another
go.
online, is it called CapeCod.com?
Yep.
And that's where I read about the Molly leaving.
Molly's leaving?
Molly's leaving. But you could maybe have somebody write something to CapeCod.com, small little.
Well, I think once we decide what our piece is, then Laurie and company can distribute it.
It's almost like a, right, like a,
Isn't Cape Cod, .com, isn't that the Cape Cod Times anyway?
no, no, it's something else. It's an online, it's not a printed, I think it's just an online presence.
It's different.
Yeah.
Cape
Cape Cod Times is their own website. It's Cape Cod Times. This is CapeCod.com.
Laurie was not, we talked about doing press releases. when we
Right,
met
that's
with
what I was
them.
trying to think of. right.
And I was using it in a very generic term, like, to me, this thing could be a press release. That means it's information, I'm gonna give it to you. You can put it in your newsletter, you can, put it in your compost pile, wherever you put it, it's still us releasing information. And whether that goes to Cape Cod Times, wherever it goes, I think WCAI might be interested in doing a story. She didn't I don't think they have a relationship with them either. But then that's news media, and I think that's okay. It's like, here's what's happening. And again, though, those things after we have the numbers would be more effective, right?
Probably.
All right, groups though, back to groups in town. I know, I mean, it's not maybe the way the culture works anymore.
The Rotary and the Chamber are the big ones,
Yeah.
certainly the Chamber.
Yarmouth Garden Club?
Yeah.
Oh, the
Garden
garden
club.
club.
Because the Rotary's got a huge mailing list. The Chamber's got a big mailing list.
Which is important.
Oh, yeah, it's mostly businesses, but it's huge.
Yeah, and then the other thing is the school district, when we did the August one, right? That wasn't that the one, Dorcas, when they did the signs and they did the blast to the parents.
Well, it was the signboard, that I took care
That
of.
you
yeah.
did, and then I took them some kind of the notice, I guess, and they blasted that out to parents, so that was great. So maybe just going through central office again instead of the PTOs that are under populated. Okay.
Are we working on the fact sheet? Is that what we're gonna give to these people?
Well, yes. So I emailed that earlier or today or late this afternoon. I don't know when it was.
Well, that's questions, frequently asked questions. I thought we were
Yeah.
doing more of a something more concise fact sheet, not.
Okay. Well, we could break this up. I'm happy to entertain any editing suggestions. Is there anything else we did that would relate to that?
Not talking about that or,
Yeah.
thank you. But you could pull that apart and make something like that.
I think the changes to the brochure will be good because it will be tighter and
How does this relate to the brochure? It
Not at
doesn't,
all.
it's a totally different. Okay, and and what are we doing with this again? This is maybe the basis for podcast.
maybe
What else are we gonna use it for?
a fact page.
So if we go to the Chamber of Commerce, this is the kind of thing you could leave with them.
We could, yep.
Go to the Rotary, pass this out. Okay.
So, or we use this as the talking points and we give them the brochure, and then they'll find this when they hit the QR code and go back in. That's not there yet, okay? So if you have
So do you
anything,
want to use
please.
this between now and the time we get the numbers, or should we wait till we get the budget?
Well, I would like to know if you have anything that you think needs to be cleaned up on this, like within the next week. But like I said, I didn't write it. This is mostly what went to, it came off the boards or it came in, or it went on the.
This is not bad for something like the Chamber. And
Yeah.
then you could say to them, when we get the estimate, we'll get back to you, either we get it to Mary, or we'll come back and talk to you at your April meeting. Because if you want to get in to see them in March, which you might want to do, or like, since this is not gonna change, have the budget numbers, you could use this even in the February meeting. And say, we'll have budget figures within 3 weeks, we're gonna we'll get back to you. Either your executive director or, so that, all right, so we could proceed with those meetings right away, because this is the kind of thing they're gonna ask, why do you want a library, what's it doing, so, and then.
Right, it's the basic
You're all interested
stuff.
in the budget, we are too, we'll get back to you in 3 weeks.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I don't know about the garden club. They also kind of like what you were talking about. They do their program out a year ahead, and
I'm just thinking of their email
maybe
chain
they
or whatever.
oh, okay. Or maybe a table while they were having the meeting or
Yeah.
prior to their meeting, like the newcomers.
Just thinking like that email chain, I think they send something out to their members, like a newsletter kind of thing, or
That could be, yeah. I do have a couple of neighbors involved with that. That I can follow us
that's
with.
a big group.
Yes, it's huge.
Judy, with video, you sent Laura something about the video. We still thinking video? Is that, again, once we have the estimate, we can stitch that into something?
Okay, so now video, there's a couple of ideas that have been floating around. One is like an informational video, a la Orleans, where they had people talk about the library and why do we need a new library and what I love about my library, that kind of stuff. And the other is the podcast idea, where it would just be taped and it would be in there, the town's library of podcasts, whatever. I don't know if I don't know how many they have now. I didn't go look. I meant to.
I
but
believe
think
there's
it's
two
just a couple.
podcasts up now, and we just got invited to do one for our upcoming programs.
Great.
See, on the fact sheet, on things like what would the library look like? I mean, I would definitely have the square footage, the amount of parking,
Okay,
that kind of, if it's gonna be, you know, it says 3 wings. How many 25,000 square feet, so many parking spaces, and definitely the location. There's not a word in here about the location.
well, it says,
There's wooded area, along traffic route.
Oh, 28,
Yeah,
doesn't say
yeah.
exactly where.
doesn't-
I would say
okay,
like opposite the town hall
Right.
or back. at the
Adjacent to
schools,
Arthur.
adjacent, so if they drive by, they can say, oh, that's where the new library is gonna be.
yep,
So the location, the size, the parking,
And also, when would it be built? I hear that
Yeah.
question a lot.
yeah, the construction
Right.
schedule,
Okay.
anticipation, yeah.
It's the timeline.
location, square footage, parking. Did I get them all?
Timeline.
And location, square
Location,
foot,
square
parking,
footage,
yeah,
Okay, and then the when.
the construction schedule, yeah.
Okay. Okay,
And location, you know, like even though it's 28, you know, opposite town hall or in back of some mental fire.
that may be a case of me making a question up that wasn't really answered by the paragraph that pre-exists.
I'm just adding a sentence with a little more detail.
I don't play Jeopardy enough.
Yeah, and the other, I don't know if it, I would also emphasize wherever you can that it's going to be, you know, environmentally green. It's going to be to the point, to the extent we can, it's going to be self-sustaining.
Yeah,
That kind
okay.
of,
That's somewhere. There's definitely a little paragraph somewhere about that, so I have to get that. All right, so this is great. Okay. Back to the video. So I sent an email to
Well,
Laurie. And just saying, well, if we generated like a list of things, basically, why do we need a new library? It's not accessible, to show, you know, how difficult it is to get in or to, you know, ride the elevator downstairs. You know, so you come in that door and then you go down there and then you go down, then you come back to go to the Leonard room. Or if you're in the children's room and you need to bring your little one up, and you get in and you come around with the stroller. Anyway, so to kind of show that, also at West, those doors are miserable. And, you know, to get any kind of, like the ramp door, it opens out.
It does, yeah, and the button's at the bottom of the ramp and you have to quickly get up there.
Quickly, yes.
Right, and the door has to open out for egress from inside the building, but when you're in a chair, that's
Got a
not
door
good.
coming at you,
That's tricky.
not up.
Yeah.
it's not going to change. And that's federal law, the door has to open that way, but you can certainly do a better job with the button. And the timing.
The timing.
Or even
yeah.
a landing, but.
Yeah,
More of a landing, right? Yeah, because it's, yes. So anyways, showing some of those things, showing, how, Toby's in the doorway and, you're in Zoom meetings in the middle of activity. Lots of activity. And you're in an unheated, unconditioned, cleared off place in the room. And,
Come sit under my heating blankets.
this used to be, this used to be, the reference librarian used to be here, but I guess that's not. Anyway, so just showing that, but we don't need to wait for anything. We don't need to wait for the budget numbers to start doing that, to get that stuff ready. I would really like if one or two of you would take that on to work with Laurie and generate maybe with the staff, but I think the list is basically there. This is the stuff, this is why. And then
CDC, we
Yeah.
took pictures of all the issues too, so there's already a list of all the things in a slideshow.
yeah, so there's already a storyboard, done.
Mm-hmm.
And so you have the storyboard and then just shoot the things. My husband says just is my favorite 4-letter word. So just. Anyway, I would really like, if a couple of you could.
Well, I will volunteer to help come up with video content and massage that. So if anybody wants to join the one, yeah, much appreciate that.
Any takers?
Obviously, we'll work with you to show you around.
John, would you like that previous slideshow?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Totally.
Okay, I think that'll be great.
So is expectation that Laurie's gonna come back from your email with some thoughts? Or again, we were going back and forth as to expectations of what communications may actually be doing in helping, or
Correct.
they only have a video camera and that's their extent.
We didn't even talk about that when we met with them, right? We only talked about the podcast. I just wanna
I can
see what I sent, what question I actually asked her.
So David, are you checking with Lori? Is that what I heard?
I'll follow up on it.
Because they'd probably do the videotaping, I would hope.
I'm sure one way or other, they can point us in the right direction.
They did this when we did the police station. They had a video, it was a short video showing the issues, and they showed that at town meeting.
Yeah.
Okay, so what I said was, looking forward toward town meeting, it would be good to have a video presentation of the current state of the library buildings. Is that something your department could help with? We would be able to generate a list of locations, but need help with scripting the narrative. That was my question to her.
So I mean, that would be my big one, is I can do partial script, but it would be great to be able to get communications to refine some of the scripting.
Yeah.
And ready to get storyboards, and at least we need some editing of what we may script.
Yeah, so the stuff from CD outlines the difficulties, and so we'd want to hit those.
There's menus at the select board meeting.
All right. And then there's the whole podcast thing.
Yeah.
And then that, she really said she would
Right.
make that easy, right?
And she would write up the questions with our input, and then it would be a 10-minute or so podcast.
Well, I've heard nothing but compliments about your presentations.
Thanks.
Um,
You thanks.
that's
You want me to
something-
do the podcast? I can do it. I will do it. That's your way of saying, would you do the podcast?
Nicely.
All you gotta do that.
I'm
Butter
getting
you up.
there, you just saved me.
For expedience sake, I'll beat you to it.
But that's true.
That's true.
Everybody says, when you did that presentation on the site selection, what a great job you did.
You know, I was not in
you
my
do that
normal
stuff,
mental
though.
state.
You always.
Wait, what exactly are you saying?
Yeah, right.
Lovely.
I'll leave it at that.
Okay, alrighty, so,
What's the meeting dates?
I'm sorry?
Meeting dates.
I thought we said them for
Yeah,
every week, just as a
Just to
whole.
hold it.
Yeah, just to
that's what I
hold
thought.
it.
Okay.
so next week we will be doing minutes, for 2 meetings, last week and this one. And then we'll see what progress people have made on their tasks and their contacts. And then what next steps will be. I appreciate all these comments tonight. This is, I think, one of our more productive meetings in this area. And maybe it goes back to something you said a couple months ago, but you have to do it when you need to do it and not before.
It's human nature.
So I think we're like ready, but I really feel like we have to stay going now because everything's gonna be at the same time. And we're gonna be,
The time frame is very compressed.
it is. Sometimes that can work to your advantage though,
Right.
because then you just say,
Totally
okay, this
focused.
is what I'm doing
I'm
and
totally focused on.
Yeah.
it.
so. I'm hoping that works with folks'
Yeah,
schedule.
what's today's date, the 15th?
Yeah.
Yeah, so actually 2 months from now, we're March
Yeah.
17th.
Yeah,
Can an agenda item next week be maybe a schedule so we can actually see something with dates? Goes back to we put the select board and the finance, start putting dates together so people can start to see the dates.
Yeah.
So we can make sure we
Well,
hit the dates.
yes, okay. And then if we have some feedback from Rotary or newcomers or
Yeah, you can
anybody.
reach out to Rotary, and
Do you
Chamber.
know anyone?
I know Mary, I can call the Chamber.
Oh, great, that'd be great.
Yeah, I can call the
Okay,
Chamber.
and then Rotary with Tomas.
Yep.
Okay. And he's findable, right?
Yes. And with all his connections, he might have other connections for you to reach out to. Has his hand in almost everything of this town.
And Chamber. Okay. Wow, great. All right, and just closure on John's question to you, Dorcas, which was that, wait a minute, how did we leave that with who's gonna get us on the March 17th agenda?
Oh, I'll take care of that.
Okay, all right. And you were gonna talk to Amy
I'm gonna
about,
talk to Amy
you were
tomorrow
gonna talk to Amy about numbers.
about a second estimate.
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 And I can talk to Richard tomorrow morning about finance committee as well.
Okay, I'll see you at 9.
Yeah.
Okay.
What's he gonna go
Well,
and go?
Richard, no.
Okay, all right, are we good? All right, so next agenda will look very similar and reports on things, overview of a schedule. Okay, I'm good. Can I have a motion to adjourn?
Second.
Thank you. And all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
All right.
Okay.
My apologies for last week.